Testing again. Supposed to be able to boost the audio more. Why is this not? Alright, mic check again. Oh. I guess this is what we're gonna have to do with. Hopefully this is loud enough for everyone. I'll go ahead and bring the scene live here. Hello everyone, I hope everyone's doing well. So I'm a little late getting things set up because I was trying to do things like find ways to get the mic boosted, and for some reason I still can't get the audio to ever like get louder than this for the recordings or broadcasting here. I need a... I was also testing the YouTube chat functionality there. But it's not disappearing. Like I thought it was supposed to. Let's try it now. Okay, there it goes. So yes, by the way, if you're wondering, I have this set up so that way it's streaming to both YouTube and Twitch. So it's one of those things I'm testing out with the broadcasting and getting more of the systems to work with the fact that I'm dual streaming. But in any case, so I figure we'll go ahead and jump into some game play with some new deck ideas. But before we do that, I just want to point out something. In the store today, if you're not aware, in the daily deals, you have the ability to get yourself effectively like 100 gems for free if you just buy with gems, or you can just convert some of your gold into gems. So, you know, do it with it as you will. I'm just going to go ahead and buy this with the gold. Now, if you're not really sure why like gems are so useful, it's because you can basically buy everything with gems, whether it be special card arts or even the booster packs. Well, it also does mean that you can pay yourself into some events that require gems only. I think all events have like a pay option with gold, but primarily it's gonna require it's to be able to rebuy yourself back in. It's easier with gems on a lot of them. But in which case, we got some fun deck ideas. So, as you can probably tell from the title, we have an exploring a deck all about using the Explorer mechanic, and we have a Refurbished Golem deck. Which, if you're not sure what that means, we'll go ahead and go over the Golem deck actually later in the stream. I'm going to save that one for later. We'll start off with the Explorer deck. Now, if you're not too familiar with how Explorer works, it's a mechanic that whenever a creature enters the battlefield, we'll be able to... Well, I shouldn't say it entered the battlefield. The Explorer mechanic is a trigger that when we have the trigger go off, we reveal the top card of our library. If it happens to be a land, we add it to our hand. If it happens to be a non-land card, we may choose to leave it on top of the deck or put it in the graveyard. And our creature will get a +1/+1 counter on it for the Explore trigger if it's not a land. This means that cards like Jadelight Ranger that enter the battlefield and explore twice do a great job of helping us get our lands to our hand for like extra pseudo card draw, or just grow into this large creature and potentially fills our graveyard or helps us stack, useful cards on top of our deck. This also, is great because we have a card called the Wildgrowth Walker. That whenever a creature we control explores, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on the Walker. We gain 3 life. So it just is a card that can grow really quickly if we can get enough explore cards, but also gives us a lot of life gain, so we can sustain ourselves against a lot of aggro style decks. To help go with this idea, I decided to go with the idea we're going to try to play Muldrotha with this build. So that way we're okay with actually putting a lot of our cards in our graveyard, as we're going to go with a lot of permanent cards. Because Muldrotha says during each of our turns we may play a land or cast a permanent spell of each permanent type from our graveyard. To take advantage of this, I just basically put almost every single type of permanent type in our deck. The only thing I'm lacking is an artifact. But this means that we can make use of a Planeswalker like Ashiok Nightmare Muse, where it'll be able to +1 to generate 2/3 Nightmares that whenever it attacks or blocks, we exile top cards of our opponent's library. It's also great for the -3 to bounce any non-land permanent back to their hand, forces them to exile a card from their hand. And if we ever can -7 it, we can play any 3 of our opponent's cards that are exiled in a face-up position without paying their mana costs. So, got some fun abilities with Ashiok that if it happens to play early and it dies, we can always replay it from Muldrotha. Or if we end up putting it in our graveyard because, it's too early in the game for us to draw it, we do have the chance to play it back later on. We also have cards like Ravenous Chupacabra and Hostage Taker in the deck, so that way we have these nice creatures that answer cards on the board. We also run Binding the Old Gods because both gives us some ramp, gives us answer to all types of permanents on the board, and it's something that is a different type of card that we can bring back with Muldrotha. So that way, because we're going to potentially get ourselves a lot of lands by doing all this exploring, that the ability to play multiple cards off Muldrotha isn't too far-fetched. In the deck, we also do run a little spot removal in the form of Infernal Grasp. We have some Graveyard Hate in the form of Cling to Dust, and Graveyard Hate in the form of Deadeye Tracker, which is an Explore creature. Now, I only have 1 copy in here because it's a very slow creature in general for 1 mana, because you have to spend 2, tap it, exile 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard to then explore with the Deadeye Tracker. Kind of just trying it out as a one-of. Now, I'll be honest, I think it isn't going to be that bad of a card in the deck because it's not bad against Greasefang and similar deck types. The only drawback is we do have to leave mana open and in order to respond to a Greasefang style deck. But we'll be able to potentially keep eating the graveyard and getting card value against those self-milling style decks. Now, we also have a lot of lands in the deck that are... We have a fair number of basics for the purpose of Binding the Old Gods, but also so we're going to run Fable Passage. Because Fable Passage is a permanent that we can use from Muldrotha. So it's ends out making it so we can actually deck thin really well. And we run a lot of the lands that also say that they're forced, in addition to other types, for the purpose of Binding the Old Gods. We'll jump into some games and see how well this can work. Sorry, I was a little long-winded on the explanation of the deck this time. But the Explore mechanic, it's not the most basic. And I figure it required a little more reasoning on why I was running what I was. Alright, on the open, we're lacking our black sources, but I think with Branchwalker, I'm still willing to keep this. Alright, well there's our black source. We'll actually just lead off with the Seeker Squire. Alright, we find a land. So, unfortunately, the Squire doesn't grow, but... Alright, this sounds a little loud. Give me 1 second. Alright, so unfortunately, it is a Curious Obsession deck, and they have already got their Obsession going. Alright, let's go for Branchwalker. Alright. Deadeye Tracker. The problem with these Curious Obsession decks is it just runs a lot of counterspells. So it's going to be hard to resolve anything, and we want to get the creature off the board as soon as we can, because the more card draw they have, the more damage, one, it's doing, but two, it just gives them the ability to dig into more answers. And they have a number of cards that have flash, so it's kind of be still relevant for us to want to get it off the board as soon as we can. See, I think what I'm going to do is actually, instead of immediately going for Binding of the Old Gods, I'm going to try to Growth Spiral here. Yeah, so the opponent doesn't take a risk of playing anything just because we are representing black mana, so they're worried that we might have an instant speed interaction. Let's go for the Growth Spiral right now. Let's put this on the board. Unfortunately, we still just don't have any answers to what's going on here. I mean, we have one answer, but I think I need two in order to get rid of the creature. It only has one card in graveyard. Alright, let's go for Binding. Attempt to get rid of the Sailor. They flash in, Rattle Chains, protects it. Yeah, and we're just dead here. That's just unfortunate. It's not a very easy deck to play against, unless you have like a lot of spot removal or a lot of quick aggression. We're a deck that kind of just tries to grind value, and we just flooded pretty bad there. Alright, on the open, this one's not a keep. No green sources and all the expensive kind of spells. Alright, this one will keep. I'm going to put Ashiok on the bottom. Let's see. Go for the Breeding Pool tapped. See, so we can play this as our second source. Go for Growth Spiral. Put this on the battlefield tapped. Growth Spiral is just a great card because it's both card draw and ramp. Alright, we'll go for double Walker here. So if we hit anything that explores, we'll gain a ton of life. Alright, Strangle for our opponent. Off their red, green, blue, white deck. Alright, what do you get with Karn's Minus? Because I plan on just killing Karn with Binding of the Old Gods. Alright, they're going for Golos. We have a kill spell for Golos, so that's not the end of the world. Gonna go ahead and use the Fable right away. Get ourselves another black source. Yep, here comes the Tireless Pilgrim. Now, the land they're probably going to go get is the one that makes that way their lands tap for all colors if they have enough lands in play. Or I guess they go for a Xander's Lounge. Well, opponent has done a great job of ramping themselves. We'll just grab a Overgrown Tomb here. Get rid of Golos. And we need to stop drawing lands, because we are way too many lands here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've only gotten 5 non-land cards. Alright. Omnath to the board. Now, the opponent should not trigger the Fable here, because they get extra value off the Scoot Swarm if they don't. Alright, well, not exactly what we're hoping for off the top. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I should have played the land, because if we hit Muldrotha, we could have played this as one of our land sources. So they mutate onto the insect. Because they're actually a Scoot Swarm. Well, let's go ahead and remove Karn from their graveyard. Get a redraw. We managed to hit every Wild Growth Walker, but 0 exploration cards. Wow. We're going to be in a lot of trouble here. Because they sacrifice this land, they'll get 2 more of these Parcel Beasts. I don't know if I can actually recover at this point. I'm going to give it one more turn, see what we get off the draw, because I plan on using Cling the Dust here. Exiling, let's see, it had to be everything... Oh no, I have to exile everything from the graveyard? It's going to be really bad. Because then we won't have the ability to, like, replay Binding if we manage to hit the Muldrotha. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... Yep. What are these? This is flickers a creature, right? Exile creature, put it back on the battlefield. Yeah. It's like a slip out the back, but it's immediate. So it doesn't protect from like board wipes. But it allows you to like reset your Omnath for the purpose of getting all your landfall trigger options again. Because they can use it on the Omnath. They'll be able to also use it to get card draw. Because card draw is tied to this. Yep, see, there they go. How's this worded again? Look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield. If not, put it in your hand. Okay. So they can't just put any card in their hand onto the battlefield that's a land. It just has to be the card specifically that they draw. Hey there, Izzy. How things going? Doing Lures Vamps, huh? I can see how that works really well. Are you actually using Lurus as a companion, or are you doing Lurus in a it just mixed in the deck? Because you could do it both ways and probably do really well. Companion? Okay. To be honest, we're very dead in this, but I want to just let the opponent just do their thing. I was trying not to scoop because I saw that they had the ability to kill us, and they at least went for it. I thought the set technically comes out on... are they doing it on the first, not on the second? I thought it was the second. See, release it's technically the 9th. I guess, yeah, you're right. It does release on Arena on the 1st. Yeah. Separate that. No, there isn't. All right. On the open, I think we have a really good hand here, so we'll keep this. See, the deck idea that you're talking about is to use Fable, Jaxus, and a ton of Ravage Rabbit copies, then sack Jaxus for a ton of Jaxus tokens. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Doing a basically a copy style deck between Fable and Jaxus, and you can actually copy the Jaxus tokens once Jaxus dies, because they lose legendary with Mirror Breaker. I will lead with the Walker. Hopefully the opponent doesn't have the burn spell for it. It might have been better for us just to go Seeker Squire first. Yeah, because there's Lightning Strike. Yeah, no, now I think about it, I should have gone for a turn where I could have set up that I could have done Wild Growth Walker and a creature in the same turn while they're tapped out. Could have gotten a life gain, would have pushed it outside of a single burn spell range there. Soul Scholar is going to have to die. Thankfully, we have Ravenous Chupacabra here. Yeah, your build idea does imply that you don't need Mirror Box to get a whole bunch of legendary creature copies. So it could be an interesting build. We'll have to see what we can get out of the packs to know which deck style we'll try to build first. I have a couple ideas that sound like they could be fun. Alright, Chupacabra, get rid of the Soulscar Mage. And we stay on the blocks here. Funny enough, this feels like I'm playing back in like an old standard deck here, just because Soulscar Mage, Chupacabras at the same time were a thing. Alright, unfortunately, we've flooded once more. We'll go for the Fatal Passage, deck then a land. Hopefully we can find ourselves something good with this Branch Walker. Now, they can sacrifice a Firebrand before the trigger resolves to kill it. Because they don't know if it's going to be a 3-2 or a 2-1. Alright, we'll leave that on top. I know you're all excited about trying to do the new Clerics style deck. Wait, did we actually have a new veto get announced? I don't remember a new veto. Alright, we'll grow Spiral here. Oh, with old veto. Oh, okay, okay. Wasn't sure, because I know some people are excited with the possibility of a new veto to come out. Because of the, where we're located is, where we're going to be going in the future, card expansions. We'll see veto be a thing again, potentially. Alright, opponent brings out Torbrand. Hit it with the Infernal Grasp. Now, the opponent can just sacrifice all these Firebrands and just, like, pick off our whole board here. Alright, that's fine. Alright, now that they've done all that, I'm going to take the Lightning Strike from their graveyard. So that we get a card draw. Oh, Muldrotha, we hit big. Alright, want to see how fast the opponent scoops? Alright, Muldrotha to the board. Use it to play land. Activate. Get ourselves our last swamp. Use this to get a creature. Play the Walker. At this point, the opponent's just on a downward spiral of loss here. Yeah, the most they can do with lands on board is just sacrifice this to do 2 damage to us. But we're going to start gaining 3 life a turn because we can play creatures from our graveyard. Alright, let's go ahead and cast our creature. We'll bring out a Branch Walker. Go ahead and graveyard that. Bring out another Branch Walker from our hand. Play the Fable. And yeah, opponent has scooped it up. There we go. So, you gotta see how oppressive this can be against a red deck. If we can survive to get a Muldrotha. And how, you know, we can bounce back our life with the Walkers, hopefully. But, oh, Izzy, by the way, I did actually design some decks around Padine, but I don't have the cards to fully craft them yet. So when I have the ability to craft them, I'll try to play the deck for you. Or I can show you the deck at least bare bones after this match. But I have an idea. I'm not sure how well it will work, but it'll be interesting at least. We'll keep this hand. Thanks to the Explorer, we should be able to find ourselves the lands we'll need for these Chupacabras and Hostage Shakers. Gonna lead with the Branch Walker, so I'm gonna go with the more aggressive creature first. Alright, Grixis for our opponents. I'm actually gonna go with the Seeker Squire over the Growth Spiral. Hey there, Big Pearl, how things going? Hope things are going well for you. Alright, opponent just holds back with the Ledger Shredder. We will kill it with the Chupacabra. Opponent seems to have missed land drops, and we're going to punish him hard for that. Alright, well, we will just hit with another Chupacabra. The crazy thing is, this deck idea that I'm playing here used to be an old standard deck idea that just has some slight tweaks to make it fit in the format here. Alright, opponent's staying in it. Alright, let's go ahead and just take our opponent's Delver of Secrets. And we keep the aggression. At this point, we have lethal on the board. Especially considering we can Hostage Taker any blocker they bring out. Alright, on the top, there's very few cards in our deck that can flip the Delver. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We only bring him down to 1 with this. Alright. Tyrant Scorn. That's perfectly fine. We don't really need that. Wow, I'm not getting an opportunity to ever play these and like get the option to put a card in a graveyard to get the +1/+1 counters. But that's fine. Alright, Young Pyromancer for our opponent. Alright, so they're going to bounce back their own creature. We're going to hostage take the Pyromancer. I mean, we could go for the Muldrotha, but stealing their Pyromancer seems like a great thing to do. So opponent gets to live at 1, and we can now play Cling to Dust in response to anything they do, and get a trigger from Pyromancer for an extra 1/1 body. Yeah, if the opponent did get stuck on their mana, I think this would have been a more interesting fight. Because you gotta see that they had a lot of control answers in their hand that they weren't able to play. Okay. We'll just cling any random card. And opponent scoops. Alright. Normally the deck that our opponent plays is just usually red-black. It's interesting seeing that they had the blue splash into it. It's basically they took the red-blue spells deck and slammed it together with a red-black. Oh, actually. Before I start this up, I actually want to show Izzy a deck idea. And they challenged me to try to come up with a deck for Padim. And I have it built, I just don't have all the cards yet. I also made a Ensouled artifact style deck. But I'm missing cards for both. So in this deck, I'm literally just missing the copies of Padim here. But the idea was to try and make a artifact style deck that goes with the idea of maybe making use of some of these Gear Hulks as late game options. Cards, that way I haven't filled in the sideboard yet, but be able to get options. Have a Narset be able to dig us into answers, but we have the Rite of Belzenok with Padim for, oh wait, wrong in Saga. Boop, 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 boop. Phyrexian Scriptures is the one I meant to put in there. There we go. So, Phyrexian Scriptures combo with Padim. Now, I didn't go heavy on the Scriptures combo because it is a slow board wipe. But we also do have other, early cards like Thought Erasure, Tyrant Scorn, some Soul Guides to answer graveyards, some Maze Mind for some card draw, Disruption Protocol as a strong counterspell option because we can just untap artifacts to make this just a double blue instead of costing 3 mana. And I think this could be an interesting deck idea, but it just runs really like black-blue control, and we use Karn to just find our finishing parts. And we have Gear Hulks here as ways to give us some late-game win conditions. Want to battle? Well, like I said, I don't have this one fully made because I need the Padims, so we're going to have to hold off on this deck. But I just wanted to show you, I was working on a deck idea. It's just not complete yet. Sure. All right. Pick the format you want to do the dueling, and I'll take you up on it. All right, Izzy, just let me know when you're ready on it. If we're going to be a little bit of time to be ready, you want to be in historic. Okay. Let's see. So I have to pick the rebalance cards then for the historic. Let's see. Do I actually have a deck that's... Yeah, this actually works for historic, but... I'm actually... Let's go ahead and just play this and try this out against you. All right. Cancel it? What happened? Arena's being dumb? Okay. Do you just want me to send the challenge here? I'll try doing it. Let's see. Hey there, Ricio. How things going? Try it like that. There we go. Alright, sent the challenge. Things are going well. Izzy decided to cash in a redeem to challenge me to a game, so I'm fighting them in a historic match. We're technically using our deck that's meant for the Explorer format, but It should be fine. Can you send it? Sure, yeah. Feel free to send it. That is such a bright screen. Like, all of these are on the darker, like, side, or, you know, like a medium level of light. And then all of a sudden, you get hit by this screen here, and it's just blinding. Alright, there it is. We accept the challenge. But yeah, I hope everyone's been enjoying themselves and doing well out there. Alright, on the open, we got a keepable hand. We'll keep it. Going to be speaking vaguely about our plans. That way, Izzy can listen in, but not necessarily, you know exactly what we're doing. Alright, so probably go this to here. Quick creature can't be blocked by a creature's power 4 or greater. Okay. Actually, let's instead just go for the Growth Spiral. Yeah, I think I like this plan a little bit more. Alright, Roiling Vortex. Go for Branch Walker. Find a land, but we're going to go for Fabled Passage. Get ourselves another black source. Go for the Squire. And we'll throw that in the graveyard. Body and Mind, okay. Alright, let's go for land Jade Light. I don't feel like we need that, so we'll graveyard it. So opponent Izzy is some kind of equipment style deck from how it looks. How'd you work again? Because you seem to have a rebalance on you. Cards can't block. Choose one that hasn't been chosen. Oh, okay. Not entirely sure what all they did to change that. Let's go for a forest. See, go for Wild Growth Walker. Go for Jade Light Ranger. Throw that into the graveyard. Pass it back. This protection is actually going to, like, cause some issues for us. Now, if this does damage to us, we'll end up losing 10 cards from the top of our deck. But that's not the worst for us, since we do have some recursive capability with our deck. The main issue is that we're really looking for a Chupacabra, really, to deal with the Intimidator. But if Izzy attacks in, we have quite the attack back. Alright, let's go for Jade Light. Wow. Double lands. That's quite the unfortunate whiff. I mean, we may as well just attack here. Apply the pressure. Roiling Vortex will actually give us an advantage in this matchup because of that. Because Izzy's now has 2 turns left. They're dead on our attack. Well played, Izzy. Well played. Well, we'll just go ahead and get rid of this. And give up all the cards in the graveyard. That's unfortunate for you, Izzy. Alright, so let's see. We just go ahead, bring out the Ashiok, go for the minus. You'll have to lose your card from hand. What was it? Rally. Okay. Get you with the grasp. And there we go. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what your main payoff there was with that you're using Rally. I'm trying to figure out how this works, because Rally plus... I feel like you have too many support spells for you to bother with Rally. Like, you don't have enough creatures for Rally. But it's an interesting idea that you had going. I was actually really worried about how I would handle you with the sword on the board. Alright. Well, we'll go ahead and continue our matches. I mean, it was a good game there, Izzy. You did have me a little worried. I wasn't sure how well it would work out. Especially after you use Angel Fire to spike your life back up. I was like, oh no, if I don't get an answer, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. But I just happened to just top deck the Infernal Grasp just then. "16 creatures might be a little too light for Rally, depending on how many of them actually like are token generators. I understand, but I'm just saying it just might be a little too light. It might. Alright, on the open, I mean, we have tons of Infernal Grasp, we have a Growth Spiral, so I think we'll go ahead and try this out. See how this works. Grass are going to be painful to us, but... Pass it back. Alright. Gonna get rid of the Steel Leaf. Go for the land to the board. Growth Spiral right away, because we may just want to play what we draw, but didn't seem to be a case. We'll sacrifice this, get ourselves a blue source, and pass it back. Next way, we have the option to Growth Spiral or Grasp. Alright, Love-Struck Beast for our opponent with another Mystic Elf. We're actually just going to go for the draw right now. We'll go ahead and use Binding to get rid of the Beast. I went for the Binding because it'll guarantee us the 6th land for the Muldrotha if it gets there. Opponent may just decide to snap off for enchantment removal, deny us the land. Hey there, Hinch. How are things going? Hope things are going well for you. Oh no, the ooze. Ooze must die. Let's see. We have a fair bit of green-black We don't really use a whole lot of blue in our deck, but so we'll just grab this. I don't grab the Triome because I feel like we're fine with the idea of maybe cycling them to get card draw. So we can play Muldrotha, play the land out of the graveyard. Try to think, though, if that's our best play, or if we might want to wait off. Oh, we're doing well here. Thanks for the check there. I mean, we haven't had the best luck with this deck so far, but... Alright, I feel like we need to go for the Destroy spell this turn. That'll allow us to, next turn, play Muldrotha, play land, play Wildgrowth Walker. And then the turn after that, we could play Binding and maybe even the Walker back from the graveyard, depending on what happens here. Alright. Muldrotha. Play the lands. Get the land out of the deck. Cast a creature, and it'll be the opponent's turn. Let's see, your deck is... Oh, so you actually drew both your masks. Ooh, that could be bad for us. We're actually safe from the opponent this turn. Next turn's the issue. They attack with everything. Do I have another creature in my graveyard? No, I don't. Still block like this, because if we hit a Explore card... Oh, that's just bad luck. Alright. Have to get rid of Pack Leader. That was literally one of only 2 basic lands that was left in the deck. That was just some bad luck. I wanted to get rid of the Henge, but because of our life total, I felt it was safer for us to get rid of that. Two Core Blade Masters, 2 Rally Ranks. See, that's the thing is, it's not... Are you a warrior deck? Because I know once when we played against each other... I mean, it would make sense if you're warriors for doing Rally the Ranks if you're using Blade Master. Well, I don't remember too many token generating cards that actually generate warriors off the top of my head. Oh, that is bad luck. We have flooded to such an extreme level. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of the lands are out of the deck. We are out of basic land, so grabbing Passage. Why did I have to draw land? At least it's the one I can cycle. Okay, so let's cast this. Get rid of Henge. Land, play another Binding. Get rid of Mammoth. They might have a protection spell here. Okay. We're fine with that. We'll take the deck thinning. And the fact that the opponent made it so that way we can replay a Binding. That was not a smart play on our opponent's end. See, the rest of your deck is... You have Maul and Skyclaves, War Leader, Angel Fire, Bloodline. Why would you do that, opponent? I'm still getting the lands from my deck. And you're just putting them in my graveyard for the purpose of Muldrotha. Alright. I can't risk going in because the opponent may have something with haste. What is this? I can't find any of the Explore cards. Oh my gosh. We still managed to win it because Muldrotha cycling Binding of the Old Gods, but that was crazy how many lands we went through. Yeah, how many lands did we go through here? I mean, you're right, Rusho. It was kind of rough here, but the opponent had gotten stuck under this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We went through 18 of our 24 lands. Oh, man. That was ridiculous. All right. For a deck that's got so many creatures in it, we drew very little of them. All right. On the open, this is not a keep. This is terrible. This isn't really a lot better, but I think I'll try keeping this one. We'll put the Ashiok on the bottom. I shock out the Deadeye Tracker. Alright, we find ourselves a Squire. Squire find land? It does. Alright. Let's go ahead and attack in. And I think what we do is we still go Jade Light here. Graveyard. Alright, there we go. Find more land. That's good. How's the rest of your deck? I mean, the rest of your deck, I saw that you said that you had the 4-drops being Brunor, Haktos, and but Haktos kind of, if I remember correctly, serves as equipment option. Nahiri is really solid for your deck. The only thing is, I don't feel like you're necessarily taking advantage of some of your warrior synergies that well with your deck. I mean, you have a lot of really cool and interesting cards, but I do think it could use some cleanup. Sorry, opponent. Let me get back to this. Opponent is trying to fight Rig. We will get rid of it with Binding. Well, no. A Kargon War Leader is really good. Don't get me wrong. Let's see. Grab one of these. Go for Chupacabra. Get rid of Shakedown. We're staying really aggressive on this board here. Elder Groggorath comes down, but we get Death Touch on all of our creatures. So we'll send it. Now, I'm not sure if they go for the 3/3, the gain 3 life, or the draw card here. We'll see what happens. Alright, so they go for the 3/3 beast. Go for the walker. Seeker Squire. We'll graveyard that. And we'll pass. I mean, there's a lot of really good cards that got rebalanced for the Warriors equip deck. And there we go. We took down a fight rigging deck that actually had their fight rigging card combos, but we just had the right answers to them. Let's see. I mean, if we want to go for what you're doing with your deck there, Izzy, unfortunately capped out on my decks here. Let me just go ahead and use this as a quick example. So, your deck equipment. Let's see, historic. I honestly don't think the Hedridge Mats is that strong of an equipment. It's very slow moving. It's only +1/+1. The can't be blocked by power 4 or greater does give you advantage against somebody who's maybe comboed off into large creatures. But I don't know how useful it is in the overall. But let's see. You were talking about using... Which one's Bloodline Pretender? I don't remember that one. Oh, that's the artifact. Okay, so you have Bloodline Pretender in your deck. Yeah, no, the War Leader giving all your creatures the Ward 1 +1/+1 is great. Because it gives all the warriors +1/+1. Let's see. I think it's funny that Bada Vanguard was dreadful, then got rebalanced, and it's still bad. Oh. I do that often with Guard. Oh, this one. Whenever this attacks target creature and opponent controls with power less than or equal to the number of warriors or equipment you control can't block this turn. I mean, that's actually not that bad. Because it makes it hard for your opponents to block. And if you're using that in tandem with the one that you can activate to make it so that way cowards can't block, and then you turn stuff into cowards. It's not a terrible combination between the two to deny your opponent blocks. But it does seem like you're lacking on some of the stronger warrior options, especially considering you're doing this equipment build. I think Fireblade Charger would be great in your deck, because you'll be able to get this creature to the board that can get haste because you equip to it. When it dies, you'll be able to do damage to anything. I didn't see that in your list. So it feels like you're running an aggro deck that just doesn't really have any of the early aggro cards. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Like you're running a lot of the aggro cards, but you're missing some of your real early ones. I know how much you love your symmetry, but sometimes you have to be asymmetrical to, you know, really make things effective. Besides, Bloodline Pretender is just not very good for your pacing. It's too slow of a card. Because this being a 3/3/2/2 means that it's, yeah, you can make this a warrior, but it won't get the power and bonuses fast enough of your other creatures entering the battlefield. I just got screwed. It's actually solid deck. Faceless. I didn't say anything about the Faceless Agent. My Faceless Agent is pretty good, but I mean, it helps you get your other creatures. But I think you're missing a lot of your early cards that you would want for pressuring your opponent. That's my comment. Another card that actually wouldn't be terrible for your deck if you are willing to get the rare is oh shoot, what is it called? It's just a colorless card. I think it's a construct. No, it's not. Do I have any copies of it? Is that my problem? Yeah, okay, it's right here, Metallic Mimic. Because you can play this early, and whenever you bring your other creatures in of the type, they'll get the extra +1/+1 counters. Now, I'm not sure if this is necessarily right for your deck, but I'm going to say that this one is at least a decent option because it's just an early body. And it grows your other creatures as they join, but I honestly think you've for the style of deck you have, there's a couple cards that I would suggest because, let's see. Oh, I'm on the dwarf deck, not the warrior deck. Because I think either having like an Usher of the Fallen, which help you generate human warrior tokens off of attacking early on, is going to be good for you. It's also a 1-drop 2/1. And so would the Fireblade Charger. Both of these are just great options. Now, I'm not saying you have to like use both, but I'm saying like these are some suggestions. Okay. But I mean, definitely the Blade Master is great for your deck. And if you're interested, Seasoned Hollow Blade is also a very solid card. And if you're looking for other double strikers, Twin Blade Geist is also really solid. But I hope that those suggestions at least maybe help you round out your deck. Alright. Gonna go back into the games. Let's see how our deck is doing. Alright, so far we've played... Is it for me to zoom in on this chart? I can't really tell because I was playing this a little bit last night to test it. Oh well. One of my cool decks is Rakdos Wipes. Okay, that's interesting sounding. Alright, on the open, this has to be mulligan. Zero, only one land is not worth trying. This one will keep. Gonna go ahead and put... I'm gonna put the Walker on the bottom. Excuse me for a second while I go turn on the light. Alright, there we go. Oh yeah, Pestilent Spirit is such a great combo with cards like Blazing Volley. Because it gives all your spells Death Touch. I mean, I guess it's a win? It's actually interesting to see how well that hand would work. But opponent might have just been playing a combo deck and just didn't get parts because they mulliganed and didn't like the hand. Yeah, it's a really strong combo. Is there actually a version of Blazing Volley that's instant speed? I forget. Because if I remember correctly, Blazing Volley is just sorcery. Yeah, it's just sorcery. Because it'd be cool if you can have an instant speed when it only hits your opponent's cards. Kahira. Alright, so this is going to be against a control deck. Fortunately, it means that these aren't going to be very useful, but... yeah, let's go ahead and mulligan. Alright, we'll keep this one. This one seems solid. Gonna keep the Cling to Dust over Chupacabra. Just in case I read the deck wrong, and they might have like some kind of recursion nature to it. Because in order for this to be a companion, you have to have Cat, Elemental, Nightmare, Dinosaur, or Beasts in your deck as the only type of creatures. Oh, Carnival, the deal 1 point of damage to a creature, 1 damage to a player for 1 mana. And then you can always do Carnage for 2 mana, or for 4 mana. Make them discard cards and then... yeah, it doesn't have super Death Touch. Right, I'm going to go ahead and put that in our graveyard because we're planning on playing Jadelight. Oh, we're against Elementals. I did misread our opponent's deck. Alright, graveyard that. No tax. Alright, opponent goes for an Abrade right away. That's fine. Even though if you do Porky Parrot and you ping a walker. Wait. I'll have to look at the combo that you're talking about there. In just a moment. Alright, Seeker Squire. We'll library that. Bring this in tapped. We'll send the 2. See if they're willing to risk a block. Alright. Opponent, a little cowardly. Well, yeah, but Death Touch doesn't allow you to instantly kill Planeswalkers unless you have the 1 creature in play that makes it that way all of your damage that would be dealt to Planeswalkers by Death Touchers would actually kill them. Let's go ahead and get rid of Escape to the Wilds from their graveyard. See, that deals damage to Planeswalkers too, right? Yeah. This has a high enough loyalty, I'll still bring it to the board. So we have an answer to this Omnath. Because we can use Binding to get rid of it. The question is, what does the opponent do with all this mana they're gaining? Alright, Awakened Inferno. still more worthwhile to get Omnath off the board. Go for a plus, and we will go for Branch Walker. It's really hoping to find something that wasn't a land on top, so that we'd have 3 power. See, what does our opponent have in exile so far? They have Escape to the Wilds and nothing else. We can use Cling, and we can actually exile their Omnath, and then we could actually steal it with Ashiok. Ooh, music stopped. Let's see. Can we return trait non-land permanent to understand that player then exiles a card? We actually could return Binding to our own hand. Gonna have to see what our draw is to know what we really want to do. Walker doesn't really help us a whole lot. Bounce. Exile the Walker. Get rid of Omnath. Play tapped. Opponent's turn. Now we're going to have to take 2 damage a turn, which is very dangerous to us. Jeez, opponent. No breaks on this opponent. So we kind of need to get rid of this Chandra so that we don't keep stacking these up, but we kind of also need to get rid of the Nissa. Oh, this is going to be tough. Hopefully we can draw something that really helps us out here. If not, we might have to do the bounce plan again, just so we can answer one of them. One card I want reprinted standard in any Dominator set from the new 4-set story is Unlicensed Disintegrate. That wouldn't be Dominaria, though. That would actually be Kaladesh. So that would be the wrong plane. But I'm not saying that they couldn't do it. Jeez. Alright, let's get rid of Omnath. Oh, wait. I want to get rid of the Omnath, but I need to get a card draw. That's not going to help us. Give up the land. Binding. Get rid of Nissa. At this point, I honestly can't really come back here. We just flood so often here. Now, granted, some of our lands are coming from Binding of the Old Gods, but we're also drawing a lot of the lands after doing the... Yeah, I mean, you're correct. They could easily do it. Yeah, so they have Zendikar's Royal. That means any land they have come to play gives them creatures. We're taking 3 damage a turn here. Let's see what we get off the top. Let's see, is that worth keeping? We can use that to kill the Kahira or the Risen Reef. Is that enough value? I don't think it is. I think we need to go for something else. We need our Muldrotha, I think, really to come back here. Like, this would have been great to have on the board, but it's already too late. I think the only thing our opponents... Yeah. We'll go ahead and just give them the GGs and scoop it up here. We don't run any sweepers in our deck, so there's no coming back. I was actually thinking about adding Meathook Massacres in the deck because it is something you could replay with a Muldrotha. But ultimately, I didn't think I would, you know, flood out nearly as often as I do. Okay. On the open, I think I'll try keeping this one. Slow, but seeing Jingotha there makes me think it's going to be Sacrifice Treasures. And if that's the case, a Cat Oven deck, we kind of want the Cling. And Chupacabra's not bad for us. Fun thing is we can actually steal their Witches' Ovens and play them against them. Wow, that's a lot of ovens. Alright. Opponent's got cat combo. We land pass here. And when they sacrifice the food to try to bring the cat back to the board is when we activate Cling the Dust to get rid of it. Actually, no, we can just sacrifice it. We can just activate it right now. I mean, yeah, they have the food token. But might as well just go ahead and just burn it off now. Alright, there's the Mayhem Devil. Here comes Chupacabra. So opponent can sacrifice it to the oven so that way they can at least get a food token, but looks like they have Village Rites, which is a better thing to sacrifice to. Now we just need to dig for another land for these hostage takers. Specifically need a blue source. Okay, that's a little annoying. That's a lot more annoying. Luckily, we draw another Cling. See, sorry, imagine Brothers War to do... Actually, I don't think Unless Disintegrate was an underrated kill spell, by the way. It was actually used quite a lot at the later end of its cycle. Let's see. Yeah, that's kind of a bad joke. But it is the The deck there. Go for the Jade Light Ranger. Unfortunately, I can't use Cling to get rid of the cat because I can sacrifice another food to keep the cat going. So because of my hasty move before, I'm getting punished for it. We'll graveyard that. And we'll graveyard that. I know I'm basically growing the hearse there, but I need to dig for lands. Let's... I know backgrounds and all, but let's try to avoid those kinds of jokes still, if we can. I mean, cat combo here gets played a ton in the Explorer format, so I don't know how if you ever play Explorer and you're saying you don't come across this combo, I'd be very surprised. At this point, if we get Hostage Taker, I really want to steal their hearse. All right, we'll play Chupacabra. So that way we can push Witness out of the way. I know we're giving them the cards right now, but we're going to be doing that when we attack anyways. Might as well make it so that we try to attack to put some damage through. Oh, Unlicensed Disintegration. Unlicensed Disintegration was primarily played in the Vehicles deck. It doesn't see much play in the current format because it can be seen as a slow removal spell. I know it's only 3 mana, but it's also only kills creatures, so it's more restricted on what it answers. It's a matter of we're in a time where we kind of want the more flexible removals when possible. And having exile-based removal over destroy removal also can be a very big factor on why you would use other removal as well. I just can't get my... I can't get my land. Every game we've flooded so far, this is the first time we haven't drawn past 4 lands. Yep, more cat looping, more cat looping. But this is why the deck is so stupid, though. Because... And it was actually... people were wondering if the cat would get banned again, because it was actually banned out of the standard format for this exact reason. It's a slow combo to resolve, but the thing is it gives you so much health advantage. It gives you this blocker that's hard to get through. Let's see, Mortify is mana and Murder is 3 mana, and they get played a lot. Well, some of the times the cards also get played more than others, just because, you know, the common variant versus the uncommon. I want to just snap off and kill Mayhem Devil right now, but I have to wait for them to try to bring the cat out. Otherwise, we just kill ourselves. Try to bring the cat out again. Do it. It doesn't matter. They can Witch's Oven, sacrifice one of the other creatures, still get all their value. We're cutting a lot of the value actually out here because we're making it so where they lose a lot of the ETB gain life triggers here. Now, if the opponent plays things right, they should crew this with the Mayhem Devil before it dies. And they should just shut off our Chupacabra and then shut everything else to our face, and we'd just be dead. Thankfully, our opponent was not, you know, that perceptive on what they could do. Well, at this point, I don't think there's anything I can do here. We're going to be losing too much life. And they could still crew this with the cat. Okay, no, opponent's just blind to the crew. Oh no, it's crew 2, but they still missed it. They could have crewed with Mayhem Devil. Oh, that's a bit of a slap in the face. Hit 5th land, still not blue source. I felt like we had actually a good matchup against them, but we just didn't get our blue sources to actually have our cards that are able to answer their deck. So, some bad luck. And also me misplaying early. Because if I didn't make that one misplay, I could have gotten rid of the second cat. And that second cat is what killed us. Alright. On the open, this is unfortunately a mulligan because we lack a green source. If I had either one of these as a green source, I would risk this two-hand keep here, but... Alright, we'll keep this one. We will put the Infernal Grasp on the bottom. Go for the Triome Pass. Alright, Thoughtseize is for our opponent. Now, they may just take the Growth Spiral just to deny us the ramp. And that's exactly what they did. So, opponent, how much discard are you going to do? Was that it? Well, we'll just play this tapped and pass it back. Because no need to shock ourselves. Alright, so this is the black-red discard mid-range deck. Yep, there's Graveyard Trespasser. We're actually fine with discarding Cling to Dust to answer the Trespasser. Let's go ahead and use Chupacabra, the card that they know about, to deal with this. That way we can hold up Binding as an unknown. And Binding is also great for us to keep because if the opponent resolves a Chandra, it allows us to kill Chandra. Alright, opponent's immediately going to discard draw with the blood. So I think they have too many lands in their hand if that's the case. Going for an immediate Fatal Push. Let's Growth Spiral. Throw that into play. Play our land for the turn, it'll be the opponent's turn. Well, the problem with trying to build an unlicensed Disintegration deck is I think Actually, it wouldn't be that hard to just include that in a um black-red token style deck for artifacts. Just simply it being a removal spell in there. Alright, unfortunately we have flooded. Opponent has flooded too, but they have the man land, so they have the advantage here. Alright, I'll grab this out of the deck. Go for Branch Walker. Library that. Hostage Taker will be great because we can take the Bloodtide Harvester from them, replay the Harvester, and be able to have the access to both the Blood Token and its sacrifice function. Unfortunately, I think we might just be dead here. We don't have enough mana to use Bone Crusher entirely. But I'm gonna snag Bone Crusher. Because I can send it on its adventure, and we'll still be able to play it for the 3-drop side. Because it goes on our adventure, not theirs. Alright, respond. Shoot down Harvester. Unfortunately, that is death for us. So with them having cut, we were dead regardless of which way we played it, like on the steal. Okay. So we'll go down to 1. And then they just ribbons from graveyard to kill us. Actually, we could stop the ribbons, but it's like if we bring out Bone Crusher... What is with the salt emote? I'm not salty about this at all. I mean, hey. GG. Gonna pass the turn? Come on, opponent. Let me see my last card, you fuck. I'm sorry, I'm getting pissed because this... Alright, here we go. We just don't have to see those emotes anymore. Alright, so we definitely know we're dead. But... There we go. Let's see. There's Cut the Ribbons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. Yep. And that is that. Oh, well. Not going to let them have the satisfaction of actually doing the damage. That's my first time actually having somebody, like, be that, like, BM with doing all the emotes like that. There's a thing where you just, like, use a emote or whatever, and... But that one, yeah, that one was being very rude with it. We'll do one last match with this deck, and then we'll switch it up. Alright, this is actually a really good hand. We'll keep this one. We have a little bit of everything that we're looking for. We'll just lead with this tapped. Alright, we're against red. Soul Scar right off the top. Unfortunate. I think we'll still lead with the Wild Growth Walker. Force them to have, like, the Bolt style spell to deal with it. If they don't, Soul Scar can re-shrink it, but we want the life gain is the important thing. So next turn is going to be Branch Walker and Drown Catacombs, so we're going to hold Cling to Dust. opponent gets to hit us. It does allow them to... Alright, so they go with play with fire to our face. So they add in the extra damage. Now they could potentially play the 3 damage spell for 1. But they don't. Alright, we'll go for a Branch Walker here. That's some bad luck. Alright, so Cling the Dust is useful because we can take a spell from their graveyard, so if they're relying on so many instants being in their graveyard to give haste to something, we can yank to disrupt that. Alright, opponent brings out a Bone Crusher. I'm fine with Bone Crusher, because they can't attack with Soul Scar Mage, because they can't even bluff the attack now. And we'll actually go ahead and clean this right now, so we can get a redraw. Too many lands, too many lands. Alright, Chupacabra. Get rid of Soul Scar. Soul Scar is much more dangerous than a 5/4 Bone Crusher to me. Alright, if they have an Ember Cleave, it's gonna feel bad. But this is how we block. We can actually hostage take a creature from them. So let's see. Land. Growth Spiral. Put this to the board. Hostage Taker. Take the Bone Crusher from them. And start applying some pressure. Gotta be kidding me. A Hazoret? Alright, no blocks. Growth Spiral. I'm gonna hurt myself because I'm gonna have to submit, enters tapped. We're just dead. And I'll stomp myself. Oh my gosh, why can't I find my Explore creatures? With this on the board, it's 3 life every time we explore. And this gets to be a bigger body. Now, that meant that, like, any Explore creature helped us just be able to not only just give us blockers against mono red, but this just becomes usually a beast on its onto its own. And yeah, unfortunate. Well, we'll end it with the Explore deck for here. And we'll jump into our other deck idea. For those who are wondering what we were actually running in the deck, this was the deck idea. And we actually got to see Muldrotha pull a lot of power in the matches whenever it showed up. Now, every game we managed to draw Muldrotha, we played it with the exception of one match. And that was just because we actually couldn't draw past land number 4 in the deck. And we got stuck where we also couldn't find our blue sources. But that was just such a rarity. Like, most of the time we flooded hard. And we actually are a 24 land deck with 3 Fabled Passages. So we actually do a lot of deck thinning on our lands. So it's kind of crazy how many lands we end up drawing. The small bits of removal of Infernal Grasp, do you feel like they work really well, even with the life loss, because we can recover life thanks to Wildgrowth Walker? But there was plenty of times where we get Wildgrowth Walker and then we couldn't find a single one of our Explorer cards, or if we did, we only found like one of them. But that was okay. The Chupacabras, Hostage Takers, felt really cool. And Binding the Old Gods definitely did great work. Ashiok in the few games it showed up did amazing work as well. So I think the deck has a nice sense of balance to it. Never really got to see Deadeye Tracker do a whole lot. But then again, we didn't really play against any Reanimator decks, with the exception of the one Cat Oven deck. And Deadeye Tracker's not going to really work it well against them, probably. So, like, Cling to Dust was our better option against that deck, and we just, we misplayed, and it caused that one to lose for us. But, oh well, it was a fun deck. I think it works pretty well. Alright, so on to the second deck idea. So, this deck idea here is what I call Refurbished Golems. And normally with this kind of deck plan where you're using Refurbish, you're usually looping this into Gear Hulk type cards. Well, I decided to try to do something a little different and went with the idea of Meteor Golems. Meteor Golem's a very expensive 3/3 that just enters the battlefield and destroys the non-land permanent our opponent controls. I wouldn't say this is like a stellar card to have to be reanimating, but I thought it would just be kind of fun and wanted to try to do this for a little bit for the memes. So the goal of the deck is we use a lot of looting base cards like Faithful Mending and Thirst for Knowledge. And our goal is to stick a Meteor Golem in the graveyard and we bring it back with Refurbish. From there, we just get ourselves a lot of value. Now we have a one of Godpharaoh statue in the deck because if we could discard this and reanimate it really early, this will tax all of our opponent's spells by an additional 2, and will also make our opponent lose a life at the end of each of our turns. But the extra tax of 2 usually makes it really hard for our opponent to keep playing in a game. And since we do go with a heavy board wipe idea here, lots of Shatter the Sky, Depopulate, and Doomscars, it should be an interesting build. Now, we also do have some Aether Trade Winds in the deck, because this does actually have a small little combo where we can bounce something our opponent controls and we bounce something we control. So since this says target permanent we control, this means that we can actually bounce our lands. It means we can bounce Mystic Sanctuary. If you're not sure where I'm going with this, this means that we can replay Mystic Sanctuary, put a spell on top of our deck, and we can turn that into any one of these sweepers that we want. We turn it into counter spells, more looting, but we also have the ability to go with Brilliant Restoration. So there's all sorts of craziness that we can do with Mystic Sanctuary, and I think this is going to be kind of rude, but we'll see how well it works. Oh, for Karn the Great Creator, for some cards in the side deck, we have a Portable Hole, Soul Guide Lantern, Spyglass, the Celestis. Because we are about Meteor Golems, I decided to put in a Helm of the Host, so that way we can just potentially keep generating more creatures that enter the battlefield and destroy our opponent's stuff. We have a Mirrored Construct and another Godpharaoh statue. I had an Immortal Sun originally in there, but I went with the Helm of the Host idea because we're going all in on the Meteor Golem meme. We'll see how well this works. Hope everyone's enjoying the games. Now, I do feel like the Explorer deck, the Exploring Explorer deck, was a fun deck idea, and you get to see some silly fun value. I don't think it was working as well as I was hoping it could, though. Alright, on the open, we have tons of draw and a Sinister Sabotage. I don't know if this is worth keeping, because we don't have any early interactions. Because if we're against aggro, we'll probably die before we can actually use these. But well, let's go ahead and give it a try. Alright, we're against humans, more than likely with a Thraben Inspector. Alright, we got the Meteor Golem in hand for the Thirst, so we just need to get ourselves a Refurbish for getting that kind of value. Oh, there's the Refurbish. Alright. Now, I don't think this is like a game-ending combo here, by any means. But I just thought it would be fun. Alright, opponents... Yeah, you can have that. Thirst for Knowledge. Discard a Meteor Golem. Go for the Refurbish. Grab the Golem. Kill the Aspirant. Now, I know our opponent runs things like Cocos and whatnot. Alright, there's Extraction Specialist. I was a little worried about that one. We'll say no blocks. Let's see here. This will come into play untapped, right? Yes, it will. Because we already have the 3 islands. So let's go Faithful Mending here. We'll discard. Discard. Sanctuary. Grab the Refurbish. Take action. Pass it back to the opponent. So the opponent knows now if they attack in. Alright, Brutal Cathar for our opponent. We'll let that resolve. Yep. Okay. Bounce this, bounce this. So this enters the battlefield. We'll destroy here. Block here. And now we can refurbish, bring it back, and kill the Aspirant. And the opponent knows that we have the Sanctuary in hand, so we can... If we want to, we could actually just put the Refurbish back on top and been able to grab the other Meteor Golem right away. Alright, another Brutal Cathar for our opponent. Grab. Refurbish. Go for a Thirst for Knowledge. Discard Soul Guide. Pass to the opponent. This way we can hold Sinister Sabotage. No, I don't want to deal with that. That pumping and spinning out of control, I do not want to deal with that. I will keep that. Because that gives us the ability to... So we refurbish. Meteor Golem. Kills Cathar. We get back Meteor Golem. Kill. There. And pass back. This is actually working out a little better than I was expecting. No, 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 no. No Coco. Hey, definitely keeping that. And now we have enough land that we actually go for Trade Winds on top. Because now we can bounce our land to keep re-getting Trade Winds back on top. The opponent really can't afford to go for this Brutal Cathar to the board. that's fine. Not really, but it's fine for now. Play the Faithful Mending. We'll discard these 2 lands. Go for a Thirst. Discard 2 more lands. Put Karn to the board. Minus. Helm of the Host. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we have enough mana that we can put it on the board and activate it all in 1 turn. Okay. That's fine. We'll give the block. What are they protecting? That's fine that they protect that, because we don't go for... We don't try to kill that. Minus again. Grab ourselves just a portable hole here. Bring this to the board. Let's take away Lieutenant. Bring this to the board. Pass it back. That's a little bit slow going here, obviously, because we are not really going for a combo that's just an easy, just straight up obvious win. Ooh. Whenever this enters battlefield or another... Alright. That's problematic. So what do they do here? If they try to go for another creature to the board, we just trade wins. Actually, we just trade wins right here. So this goes back, this goes back. This will kill General Kudra. And we'll actually go ahead and save Karn. Alright, underdog for our opponent. We'll apply the Helm of the Host over here. We will add back trade wins. Take action. Submit 0. Go ahead and kill off the underdog here. Swing for the 3. And it'll be the opponent's turn. I think we have a pretty good lock on the opponent now. That it's going to be hard for them to get stuff to the board and actually throw us off here. Alright. They're gonna pull back. I really should have taken something to exile their graveyard, considering how many extraction specialists they managed to find. Off of the block there. Alright, opponent. They know that we have these trade wins. Alright. Minus on Karn. Just gonna go ahead and get this Soul Guide. We are done with this graveyard. Alright, trade wins. Return this. Send this back. Put that there. Combat. Gets rid of that. Now, I don't think the opponent's going to keep necessarily playing with this. I decided to go for this Sinister Sabotage, so that way if the opponent actually tries to like get themselves a Coco play, we have the answer to it. Why would you keep doing that, opponent? How many times must I teach you this lesson? Okay, there they go. They scoop it up. Because the thing is, I can also still equip Helm of the Hosts to here to create the token to kill the Brutal Cathar. So, we had the win. It takes a while, but we managed to outdo the human deck, which is actually one heck of a powerhouse. I don't think I can do too many games of this deck just because of how long it takes to get to the finish line, but if all the games kind of work like that, it means that it might not be the most efficient way to win, but it wins. Alright, on the open, is it worth taking the risk to just try to draw a blue source? Opponent goes first. I'm gonna get greedy. I'm gonna keep it. We just have to draw a blue source. Come on, deck. Blue source. Please. Oh no. My deck. Why are you giving me so many refurbishes? But, you know, if I don't draw a blue source and, you know, we get to the point where we hand discard, this could still potentially work. Doesn't with Kudro there. Okay, we get it. Unfortunately, well, this could still work. Alright, let's see what the opponent does. Oh no, don't tell me you're going to hold up Coco Mana. They hold up Coco Mana, we're just screwed. Alright, thank you. Dauntless Bodyguard protects Kudro. So when we have this come to play, we kill off the Initiate. Mending. We'll discard a Mending, we'll discard the Golem. Lands. Refurbish. Golem. I want to go for that depopulate so bad just to get rid of the Kudrow. But with the bodyguard there, I feel like we have to get the bodyguard off first. Yep. So as long as they don't find another bodyguard to get back on the board, the problem is we do know that they have multiple ways to potentially do that. Yep, there goes Faithful Mending. That's fine. Because I plan on just depopulating the moment I get the opportunity to here. Offer block. Come on, deck, give me another land. Not ideal, but we'll take it for now. Alright, depopulate. Do you actually have a protection spell? You do not. Alright. We're getting somewhere. Because we have Refurbished and the artifact still in our graveyard, so we can bring it back. No, not a Kudrow! Oh, they're gonna... Oh! They didn't go for it! You know I do this! Why would you not take the play around this? Oh man, we got lucky that they... Alright, so Cathar, if we get trade wins, we can punish them just like the last human player we played. Now, we don't actually have the ability to get Mystic Sanctuary looping the same, so I don't think we can, you know, get the exact same level of punishment. Alright. Karn. We're gonna have to just do a sacrificial Karn here. Now, based off of how the board state is, we're going to go with the Construct. Because as long as you don't have another Brutal Cathar, it should work out well. Funny enough, this opponent actually does have most of their basics in play. So, kicking this doesn't really net us enough, so we're going to actually just play this for the 4 and hold up Sabotage. Alright. Cathar is dangerous. So they could just send, like, Brutal Cathar and the token that generates Overkill that, and hit us with Draven. They may play it safe and attack everything at Karn. Alright. Let's see here. Soul Guide's not bad. But I think we have to, just for the go for Construct, hold up Sabotage. Construct's gonna have to trade with the Cathar here. No, you cannot do that. That's lethal to us. I don't have enough artifacts in my graveyard. Like, we have the mana, but we don't have anything in our graveyard yet. It feels bad throwing that into the grave, but at least we have the option to do that. So that we can try to dig to something more useful. Alright. Block here.
Your father's far from being a well-man's character.
Alright, we get a Meteor Golem just off the top of the deck. That's great.
Something of a shock to him.
I think I understand, Doctor.
He's been looking forward to your arrival with great eagerness.
Aether Tradewinds is solid.
For you to be separated from him again.
Where's that annoying 2-drop? There it is. I think it's better for us to just stay on the defense, because they can just always, you know, potentially just drop a Coco on us.
Come with me.
Let's refurbish the construct. I'll feel safer with that being on the board. Because if they try to target with a spell, we'll at least get 4/1/1s. And we can actually target it with our own trade wins. Goodbye, Graveyard.
Come with me.
Because if we target with trade wins, we can protect ourselves a bit. Go Helm of the Hosts. Pass it back. At this point, we should be able to play Helm of the Host, be able to still hold up Sabotage. And then be able to just drop these every turn for combat. Helm? Minus... Grab the Lantern, just in case we need more Graveyard hate. Catilda, that's fine. I mean, it's bad for us because of how it functions, but they can't use it right away. So, move to combat. ETB, get rid of this. Soul Guide to board. Get Catilda out of the graveyard. So, we do leave them with the ability to do a Coco right now, but that's why I'm holding up all on defense. And it looks like they're just flooding at this point. And they're giving us GGs. So yeah, there we go. Because at this point, I was actually going to go ahead and get aggressive because we had the Counterspell Magic, we had the bounce. It was literally the next turn I was going to go, Meteor Golem kills, but we Glass Casket, get rid of both tokens. And even though we leave them the Initiate there, we had Trade Winds, Sabotage, so we were pretty safe. Alright, so... 2 games in a row against Abzan humans, and we took it down twice. That's impressive to me. Abzan humans can be such a powerhouse of a deck. And I'll be honest, I think we got lucky that the opponent misprioritized what was in our graveyard for the Exile with Kudro. Alright, on the open, we got a little board wipe action. We got a Refurbish and Mending. I think we'll try keeping this. Restoration probably gets discarded by Mending because we just have this too early in our hand. We'll just let this sit on the board. Alright, this is probably white-blue control. Probably our worst matchup. Alright, let's go for some mending. Most people don't counterspell this. But they might, because they might think we're like a Greasefang deck looking to get graveyard advantage from that. We'll discard these. Go to our turn. Shock ourselves, pass. At this point, the plan is go for Thirst of Knowledge. Alright, Thirst. We have to discard 2 cards here. I'll actually discard Shadow Sky. I'll discard a Sanctuary. We're drawing all the Sanctuaries. We'll just hold up the Sinister Sabotage here. Yep, you can do that. This is going to be a very long match, possibly. Alright. Opponent gets us for the 1. Before we go start our turn, we'll go ahead and use Mending. Discard. Discard. Hate to give up the Refurbished, but unfortunately, like, our opponent can now just, you know, Vantress for value here. I decided to keep the depopulate just in case our opponent actually does try to go for lots of tokens. I'd rather not deal with Teferi. Unfortunately, I think they might have like a Spell Pierce effect here. Oh, thank you. We actually get it to resolve. Alright. Let's sacrifice this to draw a card. This would be a turn to be able to resolve a spell series, but unfortunately we just hit lands. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could use Mystic Sanctuary and put a counterspell on top. So, resolve. Let's go ahead and use this right now. Discard, discard. Go for Karn. Minus Spyglass. The fact that we were able to get a chance to resolve this card, I think is really good for us. The only problem is I don't think I'll be able to get this Spyglass to resolve. Because they're probably running Dovin's Veto. Counterspell a spell, and you can't be countered back.
While we fight, I'll improvise a ballad for you and
But I think we are still
thrust home.
possibly in this game here. I don't think we're out of it yet.
We may have had our differences, but I am disposed to forget them. That is very
Yep, Hall of Storm Giants being activated means that they are fine with letting us look at their hand, because they're going to kill Karn. And I really wanted this just to shut off Teferi. I could actually use it to shut off Storm Giants, because I don't actually have a way to deal with Storm Giants. But then if they resolve Teferi, they can just tuck it. Lots of bad things here. Let's take a look at their hand first. See what we're dealing with. So they have Emperor, they have Absorb, they have March. March can just deal with Spyglass, and they can absorb, counterspell, or counterspell. But let's go ahead and still put this onto all of the Storm Giants. Sadly, Karn does not count as an artifact for us to recur with a Refurbish. The worst part is I feel like I just want to launch off the Refurbish here, just for the sole purpose of being able to redraw a card off of Soul Guide Lantern. It's not good value, but it's we're stuck with we drew all the Refurbishes, but none of the artifacts. All right, Portable Hole, that actually deals with our card, so we're gonna fire off the Sabotage, start the Counterspell War. That way we can maybe resolve spells more freely. Lay in the graveyard. Double Portable Hole, that's what they drew. Wow. I thought I was going to be able to get them to use March here. Alright, that's Absorb mana. So, let's see, we're gonna have to maybe depopulate. They can attack for 7, 8 at most from this. Do you let depopulate happen? It'd be probably better for them just to save the counterspell for a more important card, but... Alright, our opponent is very patient. At this point, though, I think we're just dead because Hall of Storm Giant gets +1 from the Emperor. Yeah, that's GG, isn't it? Let's see what our top of the deck is. What's the top of our deck? Trade wins. Trade wins. We can use that Bounce Sanctuary. But topping on deck, we don't actually have any spells in here that really help us out. So I'm not sure what this really gives us. It just means that we're not dead yet. I'm just thinking about the fact it takes us at least 2 turns to set up something. So I don't think there's a real out here. If we top deck a Meteor Golem, that would be amazing. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're still short mana from being able to replay it. Like replay it with the Refurbish. Alright, they're going to activate Hall. We can use Trade Winds to try to bounce. If it gets the Absorb, that's all we're trying to get. Oh, I can't bounce the... Oh, no, I can bounce it. I can bounce it. So... Tap this. Bounce here. I'm not going with the Sanctuary plan. Now, why my auto tapper would tap the lands the way they did, not sure, but it's the way it decided. Kind of an interesting way that it's like, we're going to choose to target this to bounce. Now, if this resolves, we'll be able to deny the Hull from being able to attack us again, but... So we don't have to worry about next turn. There's our Golem, finally. Alright, here comes that counterspell. Let's get the Absorbs out of their hand right now. There we go. Now, how many counterspells did you draw since then? Because you're going to have 5 unknown cards to me. Alright, opponent does not bring Storm Giants back to board. The question is do they manage to get high enough on this Teferi that it's going to be an issue? Alright, going to attempt to refurbish. And we're just going to see how many counterspells they have. If they have enough to counterspells out of this Meteor Golem touching the board between our 2 refurbishes, we'll scoop. If this gets to resolve, I will keep playing. Oh, it gets to resolve. I'm a little surprised by that. Now, they can't just March Exile it. Let's see, how many refurbishes do we have? Because I know we discarded 1 earlier. So we have 1 more in deck. Now, let's see. The opponent's representing 3, 6, 7 damage. Because again, they're going to +1. So that brings us down to 2. So even if we play this Meteor Golem down to kill one of these, they march, get rid of the Golem. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I block the 1/1, they can always remake a 1/1 at the end of the rounds here anyways. I think our best bet is to block the Samurai still. Go for the trade. Not what we were looking for. I attempt the Meteor Golem because it has less spells that can counterspell it. We have to kill the 3/3 token, because if we do not kill the token, we decide to kill Wandering Emperor, them generating a token from Ardenvale, they can just swing wide and kill us. As is, they can still just march, get rid of the Golem, and kill us with the Hall of the Storm Giant. Now, this is probably the most paranoid or like cautious like player I'm going against, because they just don't decide to march it. Because, I mean, we have 3 mana, 1 card. What could we possibly have? The thing is, they see that there's no stop points being happening here. They should know I don't have a counterspell. So, opponent gets to untap 2 lands. Oh, they're gonna spin it. Alright. I mean, I guess that's a play. I mean, it probably means the opponent's got like a Dovin's Veto in hand by now. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Discard 6 lands. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Well, crud, we've actually gone through so many lands. Go for the Refurbish. Go for the Golem. Kill Emperor. You know, I'm just gonna go ahead and scoop. This is just slow and torturous to ourselves. We've been dead for a while. The opponent's just been either seeing how long they can make us play it out, or it's a done game though. Sometimes you can catch opponents when they get cocky or overly cautious and be able to turn it about on them. That's just not one we can come back from. And to be honest, about like 5 turns, I was fairly certain about that. Like, we definitely hit that point of no return. Alright, on the open, we have interesting interactions, but I don't think this is going to work out, so we'll hit mulligan here. We'll keep this one. We'll put the Karn on the bottom. And I'll be the poster. Alright, so just land pass black-red for our opponent. Mending. We'll discard here and here. Go for the beach. Pass it back. We actually managed to get the Refurbished Golem. So, as long as the opponent doesn't make us discard, we're fine with them bringing that down. Because we mending, discard the Golem, and then we can use the Golem to destroy the Giant. I'm trying to think, actually, is it worth doing that? I think it's actually better for us if we just go for the refurbish. I mean, not the refurbish, but maybe to depopulate. I'm running a risk that our opponent can snag our golem from our graveyard with an exile. Oh, darn you, Graveyard Trespasser. Alright. Because we don't have any other artifacts in our graveyard, so... That's painful. I ended up discarding all of our removal options because I was just trying to hold on to the Refurbish. This feels like the general black-red deck, but it seems to have blue splashed into it. Like, the black-red of Bone Crusher Giants and Trespassers, they're just staples. Alright, so they have Nico Bolas in their deck. Let's just pass it back. This way we can use... Oh, I should have played this to our board as our land for the turn. Alright, Hermit for our opponent. That's fine. Not really, but it's fine. Go for some mending. Please, just sacrifice that Hermit. Alright. We'll discard both of these. And we'll mending once more. There we go. Pass it to the opponent. I don't want to go for the Thirst of Knowledge during our turn because we don't have the ability to go Thirst of Knowledge Refurbish. Now, I'm surprised that the opponent didn't attack with the Hermit. I'm trying to think like why they wouldn't. Well, we can pay for the extra mana from this, so we play the draw. Alright. That works. We'll put that on top. Play a Meteor Golem. Get rid of Mirror Breaker. The most dangerous thing you can ever do is generally let people keep their Mirror Breaker because of how oppressive Kiki Jiki is. Torch of Defiance, really? Alright. Kills Meteor Golem, attacks, exiles, we're down super low. That's unfortunate. So we're actually just kind of dead here no matter what we do. Because we can discard this. Play the Refurbish, bring it back. And yep, there goes the Hermit. And we'll give him the GG. So, even if they didn't sacrifice the Hermit, we were just still dead. Because if we use this to kill off the Glutton, discard a card, we're at 4 life. They just attack with both of these and +1 Chandra, and we'll still take 4. That's the importance of being able to have Graveyard Hate in the main board of a deck, though, is they managed to answer our first Golem before we ever had the chance to reanimate it. And I took the chance. I was like thinking, it's like, I know they would probably run that card, but I was going to go for the more value play the way I did. Because I want to keep the Golem in case they resolve Chandra instead of the Werewolf. Alright, I mean, we have lots of sweepers. Let's go ahead and try keeping it. First time seeing this kind of a hand. Just gonna set up the Doomscar, just in case our opponent is a Greasefang combo deck. Because if they go for the combo right away, it gives us a chance for an out. Alright, opponent sees that we have lots of sweepers and a Faithful Mending. Making his discard Faithful Mending really doesn't do too much. It's better for them to hit our Refurbish out of all the spells. Yep. Wait, they took the sweeper. Why'd they take the sweeper? Alright, we'll pass it back. I don't, Okay, so they are Greasefang combo. And I guess they're just going with the idea that they just don't want the sweeper. Discard. Discard. Pass it back. Maybe the opponent gets to think that we have a counterspell here. Now, the opponent did miss a land drop, so it could be all that they're waiting for to actually do their combo is just drawing a land. Ooh, that's great. That's great. We'll discard here, discard here. Perfect. And that's enough to send the opponent packing, because they are Greasefang combo. One Soul Guide Lantern just sends them packing. Doesn't matter what our deck does. Soul Guide just makes them scoop. Alright, we'll do one last game with this, and then we'll wrap this deck up. And this one actually takes a while to get through the game, so... Except for against that Greasefang deck. Almost feel like every deck you have to like run some Soul Guide Lanterns in the main board if you're doing best of one, just in case you come across a Greasefang combo deck. Alright, I'm willing to keep this. It's only 2 lands, but if we hit the 3rd, we can Thirst. Alright. And it'll be the opponent's turn. Soul Guide to board right away, just in case they are a Greasefang combo deck. Just happens to be like the red, white, black, and oh, would you look at that, red, white, black. Let's see, so next turn it's land, set the Doomscar. Alright, from here, we can use Thirst for Knowledge to try to dig for our lands. Alright, Fable for our opponent. It might just be better for us to Doomscar right now. That way we can deny the opponent getting their treasure value. Because that's another thing that they can do, is they can just use the treasures to just play out Parhelion and get the deck to work that way. Let's just pass it here. Let's get the treasure off this one, because this way we can depopulate or shatter the sky, clean up this board. Yeah, we actually are seeing the opponent being afraid to play like their Stitcher Suppliers and such, because they know that we have a Soul Guide here. Our opponent's going to go for Croxa. We will just Thirst in response. Discard. Discard. Ship that land. We take some damage from the Croxa. Actually, I should have just discarded the land because I was planning on discarding it. So that way we could have discarded the sweeper and not take the loss of life from Croxa. That would have been smarter. Okay. So we go for the land. We shatter the sky. Be the opponent's turn. Actually, oh no, okay. I have to do this now. If I don't, they can just play the Croxa from their graveyard. So I am actually in a pickle, because they could just do the whole Greasefang combo right here. They have enough mana. Yep, there it is. There's Greasefang combo. It's bullshit! Alright. Unfortunately, I was in a board state that I couldn't really react to, because they had the Croxa. While I could have just maybe held up the counterspell, that would have been a smart play. Yeah. I was being dumb and impatient. I should have just held up the counterspelled the Croxa. I would have ate their whole graveyard. I just was paranoid because of the double Kiki Jiki on the board. Because they could have just let Croxa sit in the graveyard, passed it back, forced us still to need to tap out for a sweep. I actually hate playing against that deck so much. Like, the thing is, I don't think you need to ban Greasefang, because Greasefang is such a fun and interesting card. The problem just is strictly Parhelion, and nobody plays Parhelion fairly. It's just only Greasefang combo deck. So, and the thing is, it's Greasefang combo with other cards is strong, but not game-breaking. I win the game instantly. So that's why I'm thinking it's like, if we're looking to maybe make it so that way there's a little more fair play, that would be the card that had to go. Is Parhelion, not Greasefang. Oh, let me actually, because I said that was going to be our last game. All right. So, this was the deck idea that we're trying to run, and I'll be honest, I think I made a mistake when I was setting this up with the Thirst for Knowledges in the deck. I originally had, when I was first making this deck, more like copies of Glass Casket and Portable Hole in the main board, and less just straight up sweepers, and I think with that build, this card works out a little bit better. But the thing is, it's Brilliant Restoration also is one of those cards that it's like, I thought this would be kind of a silly fun card, and it just got in the way all the time. Because the only artifacts we really have are the Meteor Golem and the early cards that don't really get sacrificed to the graveyard. So the Restoration's kind of a dud card. So I definitely misbuilt on the deck. And if I was to adjust this to make it that way, Brilliant Restoration would work better, I'd probably just cut all the Thirst for Knowledge and turn them into, like, the artifacts that enter the battlefield, you draw cards, and they can either sacrifice them to gain life or something of that nature. But, I mean, it's still a interesting deck idea. I did love the times where we were able to go Meteor Golem, get this on the board, and then we had Karn fetch us a Helm of the Host, and we just got to hard lock our opponent. And The problem is the deck does go very slow, so I wouldn't recommend this deck for really trying to like climb a ladder, because like I mentioned, there's some issues, but there are issues that you can fix. But the core combo actually works out really strong. But if you're going to combo and you want to do it, you know, in a much stronger, more efficient way to win with this, I would highly recommend the Gear Hulks. So specifically the red one, because when this enters the battlefield, you give your opponent the option to let you mill 3 cards. I'm sorry, you either draw 3 cards or you mill 3 cards. If they choose to make you mill the 3 cards instead of draw, they'll have to take damage equal to the combined mana cost of all the cards that got milled. And what you do is you run this, and you pair it with a whole bunch of expensive cards that are also good reanimation targets for Refurbish. And you run more just draw and discard abilities. Faithful Mending still works decently in the deck, but you'd probably better off with... By the way, Torrential Gear Hulk could also run, because the card that I would suggest for the deck, for drawing and discarding with, would be Prismari Command. And with this combo of cards, it helps you set up the graveyard. It gives you answers to artifacts, small creatures, and if you get the Refurbished combo, because this also does help fix you for your white mana if you need to, because you'd be splashing the white more instead of being white main for our premise. It would work out a lot better for you. But this combo was not meant to be taken as seriously. It was meant to just be more of a meme to see how well we can actually do with Meteor Golems, and it worked out surprisingly well against certain matchups. Like, I never expected us to do as well as we did against the Humans deck. And with the fact that we also got to see the Aether Tradewin with Tradewinds with the Mystic Sanctuary kind of looping some great value for us was also really amazing. Well, I hope you enjoyed the deck ideas. This was definitely a deck idea. I wasn't sure how well it would work, and I could see that it has strength, and if I was to adjust it to maybe not go with the restoration plan here, it would work better, and it would be interesting to see how that would be. Might revisit this another day to maybe clean it up and make it more efficient, but that will have to be another day. All right. Well, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the stream at this hour. I'd like to thank everyone for joining. Normally I end up streaming a little bit later than this, but our actual wrap-up time is 8 o'clock, and I've been trying to work on setting up some things for the YouTube, but unfortunately I was trying to take a different route on how I was adjusting the edits, and they weren't coming out as well as I was liking, so I'll probably just be returning back to how I was originally cutting them, and maybe try to go that more edited route method another day. Expect some updates in the near future, and I wish you all have a nice night. No raid tonight. We'll do that another day, but I hope you'll take care. I will try to be online tomorrow, I guess, then, with some Dominaria United sealed events, if that is the case that it's coming up tomorrow. Because it did say when I checked on it that it will be live tomorrow, so look forward to some sealed events then. Alright, well, let's see. Yeah, so take care everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye.